And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, I hit record several times. We're finally here. How you doing?
You did that. We made it. I'm okay, I think, Brad. This episode is being released on MLK Day 2025. Shout out to one of the most iconic civil rights leaders of all time. And it also marks the beginning of a new administration in the United States. The fact that these 2 days coincide, it's happening, at the same moment is, I don't know, I'm just very reflective. I haven't really gotten to an end point of like, okay, you reflect and then you come up with some grand reflection or hypothesis. I'm not quite there yet. I'm just sort of stuck in my feelings and my just processing it all. But what I've come to is that I know what I can control is where I spend my time and who I invest my time with. And I am so grateful that we have this community here at GI with 19 Media Group. The fact that I get to talk about wrestling and pop culture with one of my best friends every single week. The fact that people tune in for us to hear our thoughts, to have these conversations, it brings me a lot of joy. And I think I definitely need that more than ever. So I am so happy to be here with you. I know we have a lot on the docket today.
Yes, we do.
We're going to be talking AEW, WWE, some badge talk. We have a new Someday When You Have Kids. I also have an NFL-centric question for you. We will get to all of that and more, I am certain. But how are you, my friend? What's going on?
I am doing great. I am exhausted. I got home Friday a little early. Friday for people that are tuning in and then don't understand. Sometimes kids will have the day off going into a 4-day weekend like it is in Arizona for them. But teachers do not have a day off. Teachers have professional development day. So we had a PD day. I got to tell you, it was one of the best PD days I've attended. It was 3 sessions. In the morning, it was sort of choose your own adventure. I got to learn a little bit about independent thinking and thought and reflection. I got to learn about AI and how to use the tools in the classroom more effectively. And I felt super comfortable with all the stuff because I've used most of it already, had a blast in there. And the last one was about structured talk. And it was great. And Tyler, I kind of walked away going from each session, man, I wish that session wouldn't have ended so quickly. And I don't think I've ever done that before. It's usually like, oh, time is it? When's lunch?
That's like, bold. That's pretty jarring to hear you say that.
Smacking the watch, staring at the clock, trying to do anything I can to get out of there.
It's the universal PD experience.
Yeah,
there's a lot of watch checking and kind of gazing at the clock. And wow, but you had a positive experience. This is great.
I had a very positive experience.
I love that.
I actually was super late to my PLC, my professional learning community, for those of you not in the know, because I was in the auditorium talking to the sound guy and talking to some colleagues about what we got to do next. And, they flew the guy in, Clearwing. Shout out to Clearwing. Great job with the auditorium. They flew a sound guy in to finish our sound setup and programming. It's the easiest way I could explain it. And it's not just sound, it's AV. We have a new projector and some new systems in place. And he was unfamiliar with the structure. So we had to kind of go, well, here's how to get through the pod door. Here's all these hookups. What's the plan in here for speakers and stuff? And it's like, well, we're not actually doing anything with those. So we just have a lot of nice new equipment that's just going to sit there for years and years and years and probably languish. But we have the options at least. So
I haven't heard the word languish used in a minute.
I love it.
Fantastic. I'm going to use that this week.
But it felt important and productive. And then I went back to my room, got a bunch of stuff done, a couple of letters of rec, a couple of emails, updated some things. Felt really good. And Tyler, I got home and I was like, I'm going to sit on this couch and relax a little bit. And I was a corpse within 5 minutes, just absolutely dead to the world. I think I fell asleep for 3 hours, woke up, took another nap, got up, ate, laid back down. And then we watched 2 Marvel movies before I went to bed. And then
you were on that rewatch. Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah, really just crashed out in it. I'm still kind of recovering. I'm not going to lie. I needed this weekend. Those first couple of weeks back from a break, my friend, you know what it's like. It's kind of indescribable how tired you get. I don't think people that people always even relatives are like, oh, it must be nice to have the summers off and stuff. And it's like, again, if your building is shuttered and everything is off, are you going to work? Like, you can't go and just start working and expect pay to happen. I have nobody to teach. I don't have an option. And we don't get paid for that time off. Those are unpaid days off. It's not part of our contract. I am unemployed for 2 months and then break up another month throughout the year where I'm unemployed. So it's very frustrating, but it's one of those jobs that you got to go home or stay late or whatever during your prep. No chance that ever happens. During that 1 hour they give you, less than 1 hour, they give you to plan and grade and email and call and do all the other things, where I'm like, I'm just getting up. I'm going to pee for the first time today. I'm going to go check my mailbox. By the time I get back, I got 10 minutes left. That's that grind. And it's like,
too real.
None of that gets done, but I have to make my job before doing my job every day. And I got to make 4 of those jobs different, because I chose to take on 4 preps. So it's just a different kind of work, and it's exhausting.
That's the word.
Awesome.
It meant everything you said. That's the word precisely I was going to use, is different. It's just different. And 2 points on that. Number one, positive note. We are sending our best to the great Alf Bergeson. You may know him as the voice of GI. He had a medical procedure. We won't put all of Alf's business out in these streets, but medical procedure. We're thinking of him apparently. Last I heard, the recovery is going well. I was going to say something about Alf now that I forgot. Didn't we have an Alf story? I know I sent you guys the Pete Weber gif, that bowling gif of, I'm him. I thought I had something for Alf. Now I forgot. Okay. Hopefully it'll come back to me.
I thought you did at the end.
Wasn't there
it was the post. It was the operation procedure.
Yeah. Okay. No.
thing.
And I was, okay. This is this is great content, Brad Winchester. What I was going to say,
people love watching people just think and try to remember. This is why we get nominated for Sports Podcast Awards right here. This is the moment, Tyler. It's us trying to get our crap together on the fly. I love it. I have notes.
January 30th is around the corner. That is when the winners will be announced.
Can't wait.
Keeping our fingers crossed. We're grateful for all of you. Okay, Brad Winchester, Alf Ferguson. The point I was going to make is that, just speaking about the time we're living, this kind of going back to my original point of just there's a lot to reflect on, particularly this week. Meta and the changes that are being made. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, etc. They are removing their fact-checking features. I think they already have. And they've also added UFC's Dana White to their board. We know, folks, and we've maybe even had our own contemplations about our status on these apps. We know Alf has left Facebook. He had a very poignant, thoughtful message, or not even message, but a post that he shared with his friends on Facebook, just thinking about the time we're in and how he's ready to move off that platform. So even that, Brad, I know it may sound silly, but even an app like Facebook and how it's been really essential in my life to connecting with people from college, family across the U.S., Marana peeps, right? Former colleagues, students, etc. It just, man, I just, some of these aspects of life that have been really foundational to my community and to my happiness, it feels like they're changing. And I don't know what to do about that. I don't think I'm ready to leave Facebook or Instagram, and certainly GI will not be leaving these platforms. But I just think about the time we're in and again, the importance of community and not losing that, even if it means you have to utilize apps from what I believe to be nefarious owners. Also, one more note about education. We here at Gimmick Infringement are thinking of the employees of Mesa Public Schools, the largest public school district in Arizona. This past week, they announced forthcoming layoffs heading into next school year. Their student enrollment is down. I saw a number. I don't know if this is accurate, so hopefully I'm not spreading falsehoods. I saw a number that they're down about 2,000 students in enrollment. I know Tempe Union District or Tempe Unified is also experiencing similar issues. So, Brad, in terms of our world, in terms of being creators and podcasters, in terms of our other identity as educators, 2025, it's already presenting some challenges, is it not?
Yeah, it's I'm not going to say it's 2008-9 levels of terrifying. That was a tough year. Speaking of one, Mr. Bergeson. I remember that year when we were doing the reductions in force, we were riffing people because of budget cuts that got passed at the state level, $10 billion cut from the state budget that only was recuperated not even a decade ago. It was what, 2019, 18, something like that. And it's kind of trickled down. I know a lot of states have seen this, and it's just really challenging when it's everything that we're doing in the classroom is being questioned, but it's just being limited, not supported. It's not do these things. It's here's what you're not allowed to do. And it's under the guise of freedom and free speech. It makes it really challenging to teach basic psychological concepts when it's talking about development. Well, if you're going to be like, well, we don't want to talk about gender, for example, it's kind of hard to remove it. Gender and sex are not the same thing, or your dogs would be wearing dresses. So it's really difficult to try to parse those things and not talk about like, well, when do you start becoming whatever it is? How does that take place? What are the effects? Which is sort of like, well, our textbook is outdated, but we live in a time where those aren't going to get approved. They're just not. And not in this community anyway. Community I love dearly. I live in it. I don't want to leave it. I love it here, but it presents these challenges where it's like, well, if you don't understand what you're looking at, you might think it's wrong. But to get to that point of understanding what it is, you have to be willing to listen. And it just feels like nobody's willing to listen anymore. And that's just sort of where we are. And teachers are feeling this pressure to not get in trouble. And I think that's a big part of it, not necessarily from their admin, but from the larger community. And everybody is tiptoeing around, wondering if today's going to be the day that something happens. Now, in full disclosure, I don't care anymore. Whatever happens, happens. I'm pretty much me wherever I go. I want what's best for the kids. I'm going to teach what I need to teach. I love my job, but it is kind of scary. And people are still scratching their heads going like, I don't know why people aren't entering the profession anymore. And it's like, well, you've done a great job of scaring people away by going, the budget's going to get cut. It's dictated by other people. It's total strangers in the community because they pay taxes, feel like they're your boss. They send your children there and then tell you they don't trust you. It's kind of a crazy life-changing, life-altering experience, perspective-altering time for, I think, everybody. Everybody's a little scared and unsure. And I don't just mean in education. So it's very strange. What I think most people want to do is know that everybody's safe and know that they can go do their work effectively. And I don't know anybody that has a job that isn't like, oh, today I hope I can't do my job well. If you do, you should probably find another line of work. But I think all of us just want to go out, feel like we matter, feel like the work that we're doing is important to the world at large or to our immediate families. We go out to make a living to support other people or ourselves. So it's just it's a complicated thing. You and I have chosen a career path that there's not a lot of growth in. Once you're a teacher, the only way up is more education and a different job within education. And most teachers, I think, are there to be teachers. And the people that move out of the classroom tend to move out and go, man, I miss teaching. Almost every single one of them I've talked to who's an admin now or a curriculum coach has been like, God, I miss the kids. I miss being in the classroom, because we often take our best and get them out of that room to try to support teachers to become better. But it's like, but we're taking our best away from the room and those people want to be there. And things are complicated. In a business hierarchy, I think that works really well. In something like this, I'm not sure it works quite as well. And you layer on all the politics and the viewpoints, and it suddenly becomes a very complex mess. I don't know what the next 10 years are going to look like, Tyler, but I know I'll still be here if I can be. We were talking off air, but it's one of those rare jobs. If you were going to describe yourself, if you're a teacher, you start with, I'm a teacher or a parent, but it's not, I'm a worker. I'm a teacher. Most people don't go, I am, describe yourself. Well, I am a lower level manager. Usually people don't do that. They'll just say, I work at blank, right? I've never gone like, I work at Marana High School, unless I've started with, I'm a teacher first. I think it's a way of life. It's an identity, and it's just different.
Yeah. Well said. Speaking of different, we need to talk about an amazing performance that unfortunately occurred well, unfortunately for one of our 19 media team members, a woman you may have heard of, that occurred this past weekend, Brad. And I have a hot take on it. That's right. It is the return of Hot Take Ty. Hit the music.
And now it's time for Hot Take Time. Spicy.
All right, Brad, this segment is named after me, so I have to bring something spicy. Following the Washington Commanders upset over the number 1 ranked Detroit Lions, thinking of you, Jessica Winchester, I thought to myself, if I were starting a franchise today, how many quarterbacks would I take before number 5? Here is my list, Brad. Patrick Mahomes, and that's it. I've seen enough. The poise, the escapability, the leadership, the former Sun Devil is that guy. Before I pass it to you, I solicited the thoughts of some of our friends here at GI. So first, big shout out to Dominic Ayler. By the way, Dominic says he wanted me to relay a message to you. I got lunch with him this weekend. He says Ohio State is definitely winning the national championship. Football, that is.
If they could both lose, it'd be great for me. I hate them both.
Okay, good combo. So Dominic says, which quarterbacks would he start a franchise with before Jayden Daniels? That is the key part here. He told me CJ Stroud, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I was going to say Kendrick Lamar. I wonder how Kendrick Lamar would be as a quarterback.
That would be
Kyler Murray-esque escapability. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. George Romero, not only friend, but also former guest on the show. Patrick Mahomes on his list. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. That's all. Mo, the great Mo Johnson, one of the co-founders of 19 Media, the Mojo King. He also agrees with George, and I have Mike Steff's list, which I need to access here. I forgot to put it in my notes. Brad Winchester, I'm going to kick it to you, and then we'll hear Mike's list. You're starting a franchise today. How many quarterbacks are you taking before Jayden Daniels? I can only think of one.
If I'm starting today, I'm not taking Patrick Mahomes. He's already been in the league for years. I'm not doing that.
Dang.
You're going to lose at least 5 to 6 years. So if you want to start a franchise and have a long-term quarterback, because you don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to Aaron Rodgers himself later on. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Don't put that on 15. Don't put that in the ether, Brad.
Because how long is Andy Reid going to keep going? Is Patrick Mahomes going to be the same if the head coach decides to retire? He's been coaching forever. He was on the Green Bay staff when Brett Favre was there starting out. Like he's been coaching for a long time.
I think he has Arizona ties. Maybe he served at NAU at Northern Arizona.
I don't even remember.
I mean, this would have been decades ago. I think he has Arizona ties. Love that for him.
Might be. Yeah, he's great. Above him, well, it's hard to say. So I have some thoughts. I don't know if you found Mike's list. I do
have Mike's list.
Right now, I would probably, in terms of the rookie class, obviously he's playing a game differently than everybody else is playing. He's in a system that works better than everybody else. We don't yet know what Caleb Williams can do because he's been in a terrible system with not great stuff around him. We don't know anything about JJ McCarthy. He might be one of those quarterbacks that shows up in a year or two where it's suddenly like, oh, sitting him was really good. I know he got hurt, but that's going to be on that Vikings team. That's a lot. So we'll see what happens with him. I know he had some injury stuff, and then Sam Darnold was there, and Sam Darnold. I don't even know if they're going to re-sign him.
You have a quarterback in Green Bay who has lots of potential. He's been in the league for a minute. Yeah. Jordan Like is crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Jordan Like. Right,
everybody. Let's
everybody
make sure in my timeline is calling him. It's such a hacky thing. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Jordan Love is. I still think he can be great. Bunch of injuries. It's not like he's surrounded by a high level first ballot Hall of Famers. He's got a bunch of people that are making a name for themselves for the first time on there, and that are probably going to get better as time goes off, with like, Dobbs and Reed, and there's some stuff on that roster that could end up being special, I think, down the road. They're just so young. And that's the other thing. It's like, I don't know. So the short version is, I don't know that I would take anybody right now. If I'm building a franchise for the ground up and I want longevity, I don't know that I would take anybody above him right now.
Wow. I love that. So Mike Steph agrees. He's placing Jayden Daniels right behind the big four being Burrow, Jackson, Allen, and Mahomes. Mike also comments, that's pretty surreal that he's fifth already. Now, granted, this is coming off the best game of Jayden Daniels' career as a professional, maybe ever, just given the stage he's on, that as a rookie, he's leading his team to the conference championship. But Mike agrees, right behind the big four. I love it, Brad. Granted, Jayden did not finish his career as a Sun Devil. He transferred to LSU and then won the Heisman. And the way Daniels left ASU was also fascinating. A video went viral of players. They were kind of cleaning out his locker room and saying, yeah, we don't want this guy here anymore. So it's just been a fascinating turn of events. And it seems like, coming off of that particular team in that era of ASU football, Jayden Daniels is definitely the big winner. Happy to see his success.
Yeah, same. And I hope it continues. Here's some numbers for you. This is what I was doing research on. Okay. 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,568 yards passing, passer rating of 100.1. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
3,200 yards passing, 20 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, passer rating of 102.4. The first person stats were in 17 games. The second person stats were in 15 games. Who do you want?
Are one of these Jayden Daniels?
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, I want Jayden Daniels. I'm going to say I want the... Give me the first QB.
Okay, that's Jayden Daniels. The second one.
Yes.
The second one, who was also offensive rookie of the year. I'm sure that's going to be Jayden Daniels. All rookie team. I'm sure that's going to be Jayden Daniels.
This isn't going to be good. Okay.
No, it's not. This is why I don't trust him.
Sam
Because
Bradford?
history, no. RG3, the other Washington Redskin / commander that had,
Commander. Wow.
yeah, well, different time.
It was
RG3, 2012, rookie of the year, all of those stats, almost
set the
absurdly comparable, made it to the playoffs, but was injured, couldn't go to the Pro Bowl. And then his career after that took a left turn because of all the injuries. But, and Daniels isn't injured like that, but like RG3 had a very, very similar year. Statistically, almost identical. Daniels went 25-9 in 17 games. RG3 did 20-5 in 15 games. Yeah. Their passer rating was it's 2 points higher for RG3.
That's a bit eerie.
To 100.1. And they both had about the same amount of yards. RG3 probably would have ended up with more had he had a longer season. He had 3,200 passing yards, and Daniels had 3,500 passing yards. Their teams are so comparable. Here are the other quarterbacks, and this is why I'm saying, like, time will tell. Here are the other quarterbacks that happened in that draft with RG3: Kirk Cousins, Andrew Luck, who I still believe would have been a Hall of Famer had he not been on a team that allowed him to be killed back there. Russell Wilson. And there's a whole bunch of other people that, like Brock Osweiler and a bunch of other players that have been around forever that haven't really, done a lot.
The Sun Devil, yeah.
If you would have that year said, who do you want more than anybody else, RG3 or these other people, you're taking RG3 over every single one of those people, except maybe Russell Wilson from that draft class. And the point is, we don't know what next year is going to look like. We don't know what the longevity of a mobile quarterback who has a smaller body it's going to be. We don't know. He's got, I feel like, a much better arm in terms of accuracy, especially down the field, than RG3 has or had. But man, it's just really hard to predict. I'm just saying, like, they're eerily comparable. rookie seasons in Washington, almost the same stats, and we know what happened after. It's the and then what that I have questions about for Daniels, because 1 year in, awesome. I hope this continues forever. He's so much fun to watch. Do I trust it? I'm going to sip my coffee.
Well, I appreciate your optimism. We got to talk WWE. No transition, Jones. Okay, Brad. Penta debuted. Bailey confronted Roxanne. And Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens really do not like each other. The second installment of Saturday night's main event is this weekend from San Antonio, believe it or not. The show is headlined by Gunther defending his heavyweight championship versus Jey Uso. My question, is it time for Jey to win the big one? Does he leave the Alamo with gold around his waist?
Is it time? Yeah. Is it against him? No.
You don't think so?
No.
I'm predicting the upset.
I think
Jey gets it done. I do.
I just don't see it.
You don't see it?
No, if it does, it'll be not without tomfoolery.
I'm not saying it has to be a long title reign, but just the moment. Saturday night's main event. This show doesn't feel as massive as the first one. You know, that's a hard bar to reach. I think this is the way to get it done.
I think it's the way to get it. I think it's the way to get it done too. I just don't see it happening. I just really don't see it happening. Like, I think it'll be a fun match. It'll be a good match. Gunther hasn't told a single lie about how the outcome's going to be in any of those matches where he's had a promo like that. I just think that Jey Uso has 0.0% chance of winning. Dang. I'm not even giving him a 0.1. I think it's
you sound like me. We've switched roles.
No, it's not happening. It'll be fun to watch, and we'll be watching him eat a pin, nefariously or not. No.
Wow.
Just okay. No, flatly no.
Okay, your question, sir. This is a great.
No, I want give me your thoughts. Like
I want Jey Uso. I want Jey Uso to win this.
Wait. Want him to win or think he's going to? It's like very different things.
Both. Want him. And I'm predicting he gets it done. And again, I'm totally fine. Not only how I feel about this, but you're right. What's the distinction between our feelings versus how do you feel versus what's real?
I would love to see him win it.
And I'm fine with Gunther beating Jey in a rematch as soon as the Royal Rumble in less than 2 weeks in Indianapolis. This is the time to finally crown main event Jey Uso. I'm predicting he gets it done. He leaves San Antonio as champion.
I could totally see 2.0 getting involved and ruining it for Jey. That's still the storyline is what's going on.
Drew McIntyre pops up.
Exactly
Jay
right. That's what I'm saying.
On Netflix.
Exactly. So there's a million different things that could happen. I don't think that'll happen necessarily, only because of the stuff going on with Drew, Seth, Punk. I think I don't know what'll happen. If I'm predicting tomfoolery, Jey Uso has no chance. I would love to see it. I think he has no chance. I don't see him doing it, especially on Saturday night's main event. I know he's main event Jey Uso.
Listen, imagine the t-shirts.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be great. They've been selling like crazy despite him losing.
Yeah.
Just saying. I think trend continues.
Yeah, he's a made man at this point. I do love the new Bianca Belair t-shirts, by the way.
Yes.
I saw that on WWE Shop. The price point is not my jam. $40 for a tee is a little bit much in this economy, but rest assured, Brad, when those go on sale, I might have to scoop one.
Yeah, I went on there the other day and it wasn't a good time. I looked and I was like, nah.
You did get your Penta mask?
Nah. No, I did enjoy the entrance though. Listen, man. No. But Penta, yes. I really enjoyed that. I thought the promo was a lot of fun. It was very emotional. I didn't think it was the greatest match ever. There were some spots where it was like, all right, this is either rust or getting used to this place. But some of it just felt, I don't know how to describe it, slow. And some of it was like uncannily quick. And especially the finish of that match, that match wrapped up fast. And Gable might have had my favorite head plant rotation outside of Shawn Michaels.
The Mexican Destroyer, as commentary called it.
So good.
That was great. I'm glad all parties are okay, namely one Olympian, Chad Gable.
Okay, so leading into my question here, I love that they did the John Cena debut with Chad Gable playing the Kurt Angle role for Penta. And I was surprised to see not many people were catching that parallel where it's like this is identical. He's like saying I'm a hero and all this stuff, and it's like, come on now. This is the same exact thing. All Penta didn't do is yell ruthless aggression. So it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool debut. And the fact that people were chanting his stuff or responding to him, that was dope. And shout out to CM Punk for getting credit to the first responders, the firefighters, and all that stuff since they were in Cali. So the only thing, Tyler, I care about this week has nothing to do with women's titles, Drew Seth Punk, anything else. The most important thing is the TNA WWE partnership.
I'm glad you're bringing it up.
This is seismic. It's a shift that feels kind of relative to the ECW WWF partnership that we weren't exactly privy to at the time. It was just sort of happening, and we were like, "Oh, they're invading! This is crazy." You at probably a tender 7 years old watching this, I imagine.
And I not too long after that watching TNA from the beginning, the TNA Asylum days.
Yeah. What, like 5 years, probably 5, 6 years after that?
Yeah. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, Brad.
Yeah.
Continue.
So reckless speculation here, because I have no idea. I haven't seen any reporting. It could already be out there, but or maybe not reckless speculation, just regular speculation. What do you think the advice and involvement is, if any, of Paul Heyman in this partnership?
It's a fantastic question. I would like to think that he was consulted in this, because the parallels that you drew are perfect. I had not even thought about that before you made the connection, but that's a great point. I'm sure with any big decision, especially if it involves business, but particularly if it involves creative, that Paul Heyman is one of the go-to people on staff who, Paul Levesque and company, Nick Khan, etc. They want to hear his take before they put pen to paper. So I would imagine he played some role. I don't know, big, small, medium, but he played a role in this. And yeah, you're so right. It's funny how when it was happening, we didn't realize WWE and ECW, it was a partnership. We were just basking in the invasion of it all.
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine he plays a role. I'm fascinated to see, because I read the announcement, how TNA is going to benefit from this. My thinking is, the thought has to be, this will put more eyeballs on TNA, and whatever maybe stink the TNA name had or Impact Wrestling had, this is an additional way to show, okay, TNA is a reputable company. They are a great third option. We have WWE, we have AEW, but TNA is right there with some compelling storylines, some great in-ring talent. We know the Joe Hendry NXT partnership did wonders for WWE. I would assume Joe Hendry is headed to WWE after his TNA contract expires. If I'm TNA brass, the point can be made, okay, if our top stars are probably going to end up signing with WWE anyway, or AEW, why not have a partnership where we're at least getting some of this and getting that promotion, and commentary in WWE is mentioning TNA sometimes on a weekly basis. The third element of this, I know I'm kind of straying away from your Paul Heyman question, Tessa Blanchard.
Right. I
think this is going to be an avenue for Tessa Blanchard to get on WWE TV, which for years was unfathomable. She was basically human lava. No one was going near her.
Well, Briscoe, right? Like same story.
Same story. Tessa Blanchard, as we're recording this, TNA Genesis, the pay-per-view from Texas, is later in the evening. I would imagine Tessa Blanchard is going to defeat Jordynne Grace, probably Jordynne Grace's last match in the company. Then she will proceed to debut in the Royal Rumble for WWE, just a hunch. Tessa Blanchard is definitely going to become women's champion TNA this year. I think she's probably the person to defeat Masha Slamovich. And then I think we see Tessa pop up on NXT or on Mondays or on Fridays. And I just think about the we started the show speaking about, leaders in control and how, cult of personality, and there's been shifts and people are accepting people back. Tessa Blanchard, I think, really stands to be stands to really benefit from this, because I think this image makeover, I think it's really going to turn a corner when I predict she's going to pop up in WWE, NXT, maybe Raw, maybe SmackDown. We'll see what happens. But again, to go back to your great question, Brad, I would imagine Paul Heyman had a big hand in this. The connection that you so elaborately laid out for us is wonderful. And he has to. How can you not have Paul Heyman involved in this business deal with another wrestling company? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think no, totally. I think knowing what the potential pitfalls are or things to avoid based on his experience trying to overlap two different companies and try to have both of them benefit from talent swapping, from talent acquisition, all of those different things. Because ultimately it TNA could, by highlighting TNA through the WWE, it gives network executives the chance to see this other company and potentially land them an eventual video deal, a television deal, either streaming or whatever. Maybe TNA hops onto the Netflix brand. Maybe TNA gets picked up by somebody else, Paramount or something. Who knows? Because ultimately, in terms of producing a TV show, wrestling's pretty cheap, because all of the stuff that goes behind the scenes is behind the scenes, and they're just there for the video production, housing the library, and some advertising and stuff. But the wrestling company itself is doing their own thing and planning the live events and doing the stuff they normally do, where TV just puts them on TV and they run the show from there. So if the TNA can get off of Access or whatever the hell they're on, Twitch, to go do that, they're basically running like AEW Dark as a company when they used to be.
I think they're still on Access. You're right. I had TNA Plus for several months last year, and I was just watching through the app.
Nobody has that.
I don't think I even get the channel they were on.
That's what I'm saying. I don't either. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not watching through Twitch, which isn't the same thing as it used to be either. It's, I know their users are not exactly flooding to Twitch these days. It's just one of those things where I think it benefits the business, and I think it benefits all the talent involved. I can see Tessa Blanchard going to the WWE and doing really well. She's great. Like, she's awesome in the ring. That's never been in question. It's just backstage. Is it going to work? We said the same exact things about CM Punk going to the WWE. And what happened? He was applauded. Totally different story with Tessa Blanchard. I don't know what'll happen if she debuts there, because she might get the Hogan treatment. We don't know until there's like a public on a wrestling TV thing from her, either burying the hatchet with people or saying something. I don't know that anything's going to get better in that respect. So we'll see what happens. But I think, going back to Paul, I think going from, I had the ECW stuff, it wasn't doing great. Vince going, yeah, we'll support you. Here's some money. We'll pay for that stuff. Get your talent on our TV. Vince eventually getting some of the talent in the WWE and eventually getting the ECW brand entirely. I think there's a lot of wisdom from Paul there, where it's like, well, we got to protect TNA, but we also have to protect these people. How do we make money based on all of these things? How do all of us benefit? Because he, being on the other end of it, is absolutely going to be the person you would want if you're TNA, sort of being this consultant between the brands, rather than him consulting for WWE, which essentially is not, right? Like, you're not consulting for WWE. It's TKO Holdings and basically Nick Khan, where Hunter's in charge of creative. It's Nick Khan is running all this other stuff. And I'm sure he is responsible for making these deals and making the TNA partnership happen. Certainly with conversations with Paul Levesque, but how did it all come to play? For all we know, Stone Cold could have had a conversation with these people. I'm dead serious with his experience having to go to ECW and then eventually coming back to WWE. What about Rob Van Dam? Having worked for both brands, and do they consult talent at all about these things? It's just really interesting, because I think, to your point, I don't know when Joe Hendry's contract's up, but I absolutely see him walking out this weekend today as champ and into the Royal Rumble representing the TNA brand as champion. But I can also see Jordan Grace debuting as a WWE person. But if Tessa Blanchard is the champ, they have had in the Women's Rumble, the TNA Women's Champs show up for the Rumble.
We see you, Mickie James.
So, Mickie James and then Jordan.
Yeah.
right? So, and they had her hoss around with the biggest hosses in WWE. So I'm so excited for this, man. I just wonder how much Paul has been behind the scenes establishing this, giving advice, trying to make sure that everything runs smoothly, or if he's just totally hands off. I'm just a talent. I'm doing my own things. I have no idea. I'd be fascinated to find out more. I'm sure there's a doc forthcoming.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
My final words on this. I'm as fascinated to see how WWE integrates TNA as what the TNA experience with this partnership will be now that it is officially official. TNA is running the Gallon Center later this year for their spring pay-per-view. That's the USC arena. They they effectively booted out Scott D'Amore, who seemed beloved by most, if not all, of the roster.
Yeah. Now running Maple Leaf.
Yeah. Maple Leaf Pro, right? Great call. So they even their own sort of image makeover of kind of leaving the year with booting out Scott D'Amore, bringing back Tessa Blanchard. Moose is perpetually holding gold, and people usually feel one way or the other about him. They've made some really polarizing, dare I say, choices, but it's all led to this moment of them landing this deal, and perhaps this could be the biggest year of business for them in quite some time. It's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on.
I'm trying right now to figure out who it is that owns them right now, but it's it's Anthem.
It's the Anthem Sports Group, right?
Yep, it's Anthem Sports. So we went from Scott D'Amore to Anthem Sports Group, and then Scott still running it to them parting ways. And
Brad, it was only a year ago that we had the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, their first foray, their official relaunch, going back to TNA wrestling from Impact. Now we're back to TNA. Scott D'Amore comes out at the beginning of the show to say, we're back, good vibes everywhere. They ran the show in Vegas, and only a year later, so much has changed.
So Leonard Asper owns majority in Anthem Sports through his Cygnus Corporation. He's Canadian lawyer and businessman. And I wonder, because that sounds very similar to Nick Khan's background, being a lawyer and being an agent for so many years, that it was probably just they know each other through the business. And my guess is that all of that happened. Nick, just looking at it now, just Nick Khan and Leonard Asper. And I imagine Nick Khan having conversations with Paul Heyman, who in the hierarchy of the business world is not at the top of it. In the hierarchy of professional wrestling is one of the pinnacles and one of the most important people ever in professional wrestling. If you want to go back and learn more, you can check out our series for the wise man, Paul Heyman, from last year, our 3-episode series. Man, really, really cool stuff this week, and crazy shifts in pro wrestling, and I guess in the NFL. All sorts of stuff to talk about, but I want to talk about something a little closer to home. Tyler, I got to talk about Freya. Play the music. It's time for Someday When You Have Kids.
And now it's time for
Someday.
Someday When You Have Kids.
Someday I can have kids.
So Tyler, when I was sitting in my living room, and I texted you this week, early in the week, I have a someday laughing emoji. It was a variety of things kept occurring. Now, Freya was homesick all week. She has something. I don't know what it is. Who knows? Could be literal anything floating around right now. She has been stuffy and snot and a little bit of a fever, and she just has super tired eyes, and she's doing much better now. I got a text from Jess when I was at work on Monday when she kept her home. She was like, "I'm glad I kept her home. I know she's sick because she's letting me take care of her." And that's the key there. Freya just, no, I'm sick. First time that kid had COVID, we had to tell her to stop running around because she had like a 101 or a 102 and she was doing sprints in the hallway and stuff. Just going crazy, like acting like everything's good. We're like, please stop moving. Please sit. You are sick. I know you don't know that you're sick, but you're sick. Kind of the same thing. So she came out of the bedroom and she decided to say, "I want you to know that I can growl." And then she started making this sound with her nose. It was disgusting. It was just gurgling snot coming from inside of her face holes. Nasty as all hell. And then she just starts cackling. This kid, Tyler, someday when you have kids, you're going to find out that kids are going to lie so much about how they feel when they don't want to do something, and will make you feel ashamed of how much of a baby you are when you get a cold and want to do nothing, when they're just like, it's time to go do this really complicated hard work, do all this stuff. Can I go out on the trampoline? I know it's 5 degrees outside, but I want to go out barefoot and bounce on it. Absolutely insane. This kid is a warrior. I don't understand it, because when I get a cold, I am done. I'm on the couch. I got tea. I got like, just leave me alone. I'm under a heated blanket.
Some Kleenex.
Just tearing through tissues. She's in there like, this is a cool sound I can make with all this stuff on my face. I'm just going to do that and pretend I'm a cat. Or I'm going to go jump on the trampoline. I'm going to start flinging myself around the uneven bars we got set up in her playroom. I'm going to go
one.
Just.
That's next level
insane.
for you. That is next level.
Yep. So I'm telling you, someday when you have kids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, awesome.
Someday when you have kids was my favorite segment of ours. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and it continues in 2025. That did not disappoint. I waited days to hear that, and you delivered.
I think I have videos. I'm pretty sure I'll send you some stuff. I did not want to put it out there.
I can't wait.
She was very creative this week, and it was a blast.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so speaking of creative, speaking of characters delivering, dare I say, because Freya's embracing a character when she's under the weather. We saw all of that and more on AEW this week, Brad. There were some aspects of AEW TV that I really, really enjoyed that I want to get your POV on. And there were other parts that I didn't love as much, but we're going to get into all that right now. All-Star Tag. I hit you up. I said, I don't know if I've ever enjoyed an All-Star Tag. I don't know. We'll see. That's where
two of the 3 trios champs are wrestling again.
Yeah, absolutely that. Okay, here we go. So we spoke of Powerhouse Hobbs last week, and although he did not defeat Jon Moxley in Mox's hometown of Cincinnati,
how was that?
I thought he was one of the company's biggest on-screen winners last week. In other news, Toni Storm won the inaugural Women's Casino Gauntlet. Megan Bayne looked fantastic in her debut.
That was awesome.
Incredible. I want to get your thoughts on her in that match. The Acclaimed split. Did not love how that went down. I feel like it should have been a much bigger deal. And it appears we're full steam ahead for an MJF versus Jeff Jarrett feud. Exhale. Prediction. I need a prediction from you. All of this being said, what will be the main event of AEW Revolution on March 9th?
Oh, Jesus. I have no idea.
Jon Moxley has to drop the title. Revolution has to mark the end of the Death Rider storyline, does it not?
Yes, please.
It has to. They have to know it's not working.
It's so bad.
Respectfully. I love everyone involved.
Yes.
But this is just not.
It's bad.
This is not it.
There's never been any clear delineation from Blackpool Combat Club outside of, okay, Danielson's gone and we put in Shafir. Nothing's different. We're just the Death Riders now. We have a suitcase. Yeah, like none of it. It's so bad. It could be so good, but it's just I don't know why they're there.
It started out promising. It's one of those instances where the story itself, the first week to 2 of presentation, Mox beating Danielson in Danielson's home state.
Yeah.
Mox putting plastic bags over people and awesome. I'm here for it. But then I don't even know, Brad,
but the repetition happened immediately.
Okay. When were you out on it? Because I don't remember the moment I was out on it.
The 3rd or 4th week. That was it.
It feels like it's been 6 months that I've been out on this now.
Yeah. Almost immediately. It was like right away. I was like, ooh, what's going on here? And then they had, was it back-to-back pay-per-views? I think we had like a week and then it was another one or something. Something happened. I don't remember. It was like big event.
Right.
And after the second big event,
Wrestle Dream is when Mox beat Danielson.
Yeah. And then something happened after that. I don't remember what it was, but it came back. And then ever since then, it's been totally nebulous promo backstage. You think we want to do this? We have to do this. AEW said it's not yours. I don't like what it's become. And it's just been like, then tell us what you want. It's been 8 years. Get there faster. Like I've been saying forever, stop leaving breadcrumbs on a trail if there's no end to the. I almost said some no words, and I don't want to have to find it and bleep it out, Tyler. So I'm just going to stop. I hate this so much, but it could have been great. It can still be great, but they got to give us something. They've been giving us nothing. You got part of I'm so tired of like, I don't know if Tony Khan just forgets they exist, but you've got all these championships. Nobody's defending them. We still have ROH bullcrap on our screens during AEW shows. Keep ROH. Stop it. And bring ROH talent that aren't champs up to the main roster if you want to, because that's what this is. And stop treating them like equals, because if they were equals, you'd have the AEW stuff all over ROH all the time, and maybe people would watch. I'm just saying. I'm just so out on all of this. The learning tree stuff. Where is any of this going? You got your top talent in these big tag teams, which is fine. Get everybody on screen, but nobody seems to care about any of this. FTR hasn't won anything meaningful in a really long time. So they're just sort of like there as Cope's backup. And
Cope is going for Mox and for the title. Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett, babyface, is not only saying horrendous things about MJF's mom and MJF's partner. Again, Jeff Jarrett is a babyface, if I did not mention that, but also outwardly declaring he wants to become AEW world champion. I don't think that's what the fan base wants.
Nobody wants that.
I don't think that even in Tennessee, I don't think that's the way to get fan support behind Jeff Jarrett. I think that's actually a heel move. If the veteran and respect Jeff Jarrett, I've watched this man for decades.
Yes,
amazing professional, given so much, forgotten more about the business than I will ever know. We just left last year of Bryan Danielson last year as a full-time performer going for the gold. That was completely different than Jeff Jarrett in 2025 declaring he is going for the world championship. It is not the same thing. I don't think anybody wants to see it. Go for the TNT title. Go for Okada. You can sell me on that, but not the world title. What? This doesn't feel like the alternative when we're doing that.
Well, maybe that's the chase that he goes after, and when he gets close, that's what ends his career. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe that's the plan: is get somebody that's a babyface or maybe a heel over huge as a heel by eliminating and murdering Jeff Jarrett forever. Maybe that's the long-term plan.
MJF, yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. That one's a little harder. I can't predict it because they're not doing anything with this. They're not. They're just having trios and multi-mans and all this stuff. And it's like right now, the only clear answer is Cope versus Mox.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's probably the Australia show, Grand Slam main event.
And that'll be fun, but please switch that up now that House of Black is effectively dying off, and have Buddy be the main eventer for the title. Get Buddy to that. And now
I saw him and Brody are tagging.
Yeah.
I think it's Collision Homecoming against Gates of Agony.
When is the Hurt Syndicate going to bump heads with the Death Riders? They
may be the new tag champs. I'm very sad that they've done nothing with the Private Party tag run. I hope it won't be the last time they're champs, but I think at this point you just have the Hurt Syndicate be Private Party. That's just where we're at. You go with the momentum.
You have to. No, I agree with you, and that sucks to say because I've wanted this forever.
This Wednesday, yeah.
I don't know
for Private Party.
Yeah, I just don't know. Injuries stop their momentum, and then they like seem to forget that they were there, and there's probably a lot of levels and layers that we're missing here, and this is all on the fly. I'm not exactly looking things up right now, but I want good things for everybody. But I would love to see a tag team Hurt Syndicate champion.
Oh yeah,
championship run.
Yeah, for sure.
That thrust kick. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's time for them to have gold already. And what I will say, Brad, is Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland announced for the February 5th Atlanta show. That's amazing. I love how they're building that.
That's such a good match for Atlanta.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They're
announcing
matches weeks in advance now.
Who comes out with Swerve? Which artist is coming out?
Lil Jon.
So that's Lil Jon. There's so many to pick from it.
There's a lot of options.
It's like everybody.
Well, okay. What I will say though, Brad.
That's the one that you associate, right? Like that's the.
I'm going to
first
say
one that
Lil
comes-
Jon. Yeah,
Okay.
I quite enjoy Lil Jon.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No. This is something I want to make sure I mention before I hear your question. I want to shout out to Alex Palowski of Fightful Select fame. I love his idea going back to what could be the Revolution main event, assuming that's the Moxley match. He brought up, wait, this could be a great opportunity. You saw how Hobbs delivered in the ring. You saw the audience reaction to him, particularly this past week. What if you have a rematch for Revolution in Hobbs's home state of California? And that is where you pivot. And maybe the answer is not Darby Allin. Maybe the answer is not Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay, who are preoccupied right now with the Don Callis family. Maybe the move is, let's ride this organic star who's shown he can deliver in the biggest moments. Let's have Hobbs win in California. Hobbs becomes champ, and the Death Riders storyline is effectively over. This goes back to what you asked me earlier about Jey Uso. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I want it to happen so bad.
Same.
This
Totally.
is a fantastic idea. Get goodwill back on your side, pivot, and crown Hobbs in Cali. I think it would be great.
I would not hate. I don't think it'll happen because of heel versus heel, but I wouldn't hate this Hangman holding the strap.
Vicious. You saw what he did to Christopher Daniels.
Yes, which is a great
That was
segue.
uncomfortable.
Here's a great segue, my friend. Okay, Tyler, Samoa Joe has returned. The Hurt Syndicate got a win. We're going to see them probably take the straps, as we talked about. We know Double J is beefing with MJF. Tony Storm won the gauntlet match, the rookie. Kenny and Will were beaten up by Fletcher and Takeshita, and I'm so excited for this. Will said, it's time for me and Kenny to have a chat. That's going to rule. That's going to be a fun promo. I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun to look up or look forward to and watch. Hangman Adam Page committed a murder, though, against Christopher Daniels in what is presumably his retirement match from in-ring competition in general, I imagine, because I thought that already happened, but he has since gone back. I think this might have been it for him. So I don't have a lot to add to this. I'm going to give you the floor since you are a day one TNAer. What are your thoughts about Christopher Daniels, his career, and his legacy in professional wrestling?
Wow. He's had an amazing career. He's worked for virtually every major professional organization. Yeah. I believe he's remained relatively healthy throughout his career, which is obviously a huge blessing. I am most familiar with his run in TNA when he was really running that X division.
Stop kicking me. Sorry.
Yeah. Unbreakable 05 versus Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Arguably, very likely my favorite wrestling match of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. It's definitely top 5.
It's so good.
It's so good. And again, he was the champ heading into that match, if I'm not mistaken. He's just really an unsung great wrestler. He's one of those performers where he's so good at everything. I don't know that he was ever the person who could jump the highest or the guy who had the biggest muscles or the best on the microphone. But when you're really good at everything, you have an amazing career full of longevity, memorable matches, and I would imagine a ton of respect with the men and women of locker rooms in the United States and beyond. So again, I wish CD would have been given more flowers at various points in his career, especially during that TNA run. But I think at times he may have been overshadowed by Samoa Joe, the Samoa Joes of the world, AJ Styles, Sting came in, RVD. There were just a lot of bigger personalities. Hogan, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff was there. Kevin Nash popped up.
So crazy.
It'd have been Mafia Jones.
So crazy.
That I think he was just a product of that time period where it was just straddling the line between, and even just going back to our AEW conversation, straddling the line between, was TNA really invested in building new stars and ushering in a new era? Or were they more focused on bringing in stars of the past who had more name ID? I think, unfortunately, he may have been a casualty of that time period because he was putting on amazing matches. So if this is, in fact, his last match, which it has to be because Hangman basically committed homicide on Max on Saturday. It was extremely uncomfortable to watch at times. what an amazing career, and I wish nothing but the best for him.
Well said. I really enjoyed watching him, and most of it wasn't, almost 100% of it wasn't live. My first interaction really with him on a live performance was in SCU, so it's just different for me. And then going back, going like, oh, that's who this guy is. It was the same thing with Kazarian, and looking at the roster in AEW, I feel very similar ways about TNA when it was gobbling up wrestlers from WWE that have been sort of set aside, or even WCW, looking at it that way, where AEW is comprised of a lot of veteran wrestlers that came from the WWE that are looking to either restart or refurbish or whatever it is their career. And I think ultimately the goal is always money, and the wrestlers that have good relationships with each other always support each other. And I don't know that I've ever seen anybody utter a bad word about Christopher Daniels ever. He just seems universally beloved and liked. And to your point, he's just one of those guys that when he's out there, you're going to get something good, either on the mic, in the ring. Like his promo work made me excited for this match. And it was like, he's just like an executive back there
in the dress shirt and slacks.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I'm in. I mean, that works. Cody did it for years, still doing it.
Yeah.
And
Daniels' moveset as well. The Angel Wings, awesome finisher. Let's not forget, for our Tiffany Stratton fans out there, the PME, prettiest moonsault ever. You saw it on Friday. Years before Tiffany was doing it, Christopher Daniels was the innovator of the BME, the best moonsault ever. He checks all my boxes. I'm a huge fan. Great.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome, man. So speaking of greatness, you are really great at doing this because you make me interested in things I don't care about. So let's get into it. Hit me with batch talk. Play the music.
And now for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
Okay, this is a one story batch segment. Brad, you may have seen, but you probably did not. It's not a part of your algorithm, which I completely understand. Some big news out of batch this week. You may recall on the last row segment, we were discussing some of the contestants for Grant Ellis. The season's popping off at the end of the month. Rachel Lindsay, the first Black bachelorette, officially settled her divorce. She has a huge payment for her ex-partner. Not good, but happy for Rachel that she gets to move on. Brad, news came out this week out of Batch Nation that the first Black bachelor, Matt James, and his partner, Rachael Kirkconnell, have called it splits after nearly 4 years together. Matt posted on Instagram a few days ago with a picture of him and Rachel from their season. And his caption was, "Father God, give Rachel and I strength to mend our broken hearts. Give us peace about this decision to end our relationship that transcends worldly understanding. Shower our friends and family with kindness," so on and so forth. And this is fascinating because I don't know that all of Batch Nation is heartbroken about this. You may recall Matt James' season back in January 2021 was filled with controversy. I will point out a lot of it was not his fault. The Bachelor franchise clearly was not prepared for the first Black Bachelor and the conversations that would come from that. And in the case of Rachel, photos surfaced of her from college in which she attended a sorority party that was on former slave grounds, and there were additional elements.
I do remember this. Yeah, I remember
super problematic.
That even hit my algorithm.
It even hit your algorithm. And then what was it? Chris Harrison, the former host of Batch, just said some remarks that weren't awesome, and then he proceeded to exit the show. It was just a hot mess. But it turns out Matt James and Rachel reconnected after the show. Again, they've been in a relationship for 4 years. People in my life told me that they're foodies now, where they go around to places across the country, including Arizona. And on social media, they give their food reviews. They've been doing that the past 4 years. I know this is exhilarating, Brad. They live an exhilarating life, but it's no more because they split up. And to me, again, this feels very eerie that all of this news is coming out mere weeks before Grant Ellis debuts as the second Black Bachelor, the third Black lead in this franchise's history. I don't know if it's a bad omen. I don't know if it's promising. I don't know what to feel about this, but people are talking about it, and Grant's season begins in exactly 1 week. We shall see.
I'll ask you this, and then I'll move off of it before I ask you another question. What is the marriage success rate in general for the Bachelor
It's not
or
good.
Bachelorette? That's
It's not
so,
good.
I know you're
good. It's 0% for Black League.
I was gonna
It is 0%. Can Grant Ellis change this is a huge season, Brad. Can Grant Ellis change the fortunes of Black contestants? Can he do it? I don't know. I'm not optimistic.
Contestants,
I'm hopeful.
maybe. Marriages,
the marriage is key. Yeah,
it's a two-way street. It takes a couple people there. So, my question for you is, Tyler, what did we miss?
Yeah. Okay. So we missed a couple of things. Actually, no, we missed really one main item. Unrivaled basketball debut. This is the brainchild of WNBA stars Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier. I watched Unrivaled, Brad. It's a blast. It's a 3-on-3 league. It's going to be an 8-week season, 6 teams, 36 players. Check it out. Very, very fun. And along with that, if you visit gimmickinfringementpod.com, you will notice click the writing section. This is true. You'll notice my most recent article on Kelsey Plum. It's low-key a big year for Kelsey Plum. She's a free agent. There are murmurs that maybe she leaves the Las Vegas Aces. We talk about all that in the article. Her jersey was retired at the University of Washington over the weekend. So really giving her flowers for all that she's done to this point. And now, dare I say, speculating, reflecting on the reality that this could be this year, 25-26, could be the most important year of her career. So we talk free agency. We talk about the possibility of her going to the Golden State Valkyries. Really excited for women's hoops in 2025.
I saw a picture from Unrivaled. It was Juju Gotti from the Dan Le Batard show posing with Steve Nash. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, MVC pulled up to the 305. He was there.
Yeah. So, Tyler, a bunch of things. And what do we miss for this week? TikTok ban goes in effect today, I believe. Bob Uecker, legendary broadcaster and star of Major League 1 and 2. I can't remember if he's in 3. I don't care because 1 and 2 are awesome. Bob Uecker passed. Man is a legend. I love his Hall of Fame speech. Filmmaker David Lynch also passed. The man had emphysema after years and years and years of smoking. I loved me some Twin Peaks growing up and in my adulthood. It spawned a bunch of shows like X-Files and just inspired a generation of people to do different kinds of filmmaking. He unfortunately had to be evacuated during the LA fires. I doubt smoke inhalation helped him any. I don't know if it's related. I'm sure it's one of the factors, but thinking of his family. On a positive end to this, the Arizona Wrestling Federation, the AWF women's champion, Fallon Gray, also won the Fan Nation Choice Awards for the AWF. They chose Fallon Gray and SOS as their match of the year. It was, I can't remember if it was no holds barred or a death match, but it was a street fight, I think, actually, thinking back. I saw the graphic. I read the graphic. And Fallon Gray was also named Breakout Star of the Year by the AWF. Really cool to see women's wrestling highlighted in Arizona and in general. I thought that was super dope and really excited about that.
Let's go. Congrats to Fallon. All right, Brad, this was a great episode. This was dynamic. We
hit a lot of different things, my friend. Yeah, we did.
We really did. I had a blast. I already can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm having bread immediately when we're done with this. So maybe that's what. Thank you for forward thinking.
Segway City. I'm sure we'll have just as much, if not more, to get into next week. In the meantime, thank you all so much for being here. You can follow us at GIPod19 for exclusive show updates and more. We'll see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.